Are you tired of paying full price for half-baked tech products? Well, I feel like tech has a serious problem, and we're going to talk about it in this video. Now, many of you have probably been watching as the iPhone 16 was released with all sorts of exciting features like Apple Intelligence that aren't actually launching with the phone. They're launching later. And so we're wondering if the iPhone 16, when it comes out, is not having those features. Isn't it basically the same thing as an iPhone 15? So what's the point? And we see these things advertised and marketed to us. It's kind of leaving me with a bad taste in my mouth. And other creators, especially much more well-known ones like MKBHD, are putting out there that they're going to be reviewing that device as it is when it becomes available. And there's definitely going to be some criticism there because the marketing hype is not equaling what we're getting when we initially get our hands on these products. And I'm not even talking about pre-release. I'm used to trying out beta versions of things and sometimes even getting access to something pre-release. But I'm talking about publicly available products that we purchase, knowing that this is the feature set that we're supposed to get because that's what was marketed to us, however, not getting those until however long down the road. And it's not just Apple that's doing this. When Tesla finally released the Cybertruck after all of the time that they kept pushing it back, it released with no differential lockers, and it said coming soon. Now, differential lockers are what are required to go into full four-wheel drive, and it said coming soon. Differential lockers is something that my 1998 Ford Ranger that I bought to fix up with my kids has, and it has an electronic differential locker. I could turn the knob and it goes ahead and puts it into four-wheel drive. It's very simple, and most vehicles that have four-wheel drive have that, especially if they're at least 20 years, and that's not new technology. However, the Cybertruck was missing that upon release. Full self-driving capabilities, basic autopilot, and parking assist were also features that were missing from the Cybertruck. And I've seen a handful of videos bringing criticism to this fact. Another vehicle manufacturer, Volvo, with their 2025 EX90, is going to release with missing wireless CarPlay, which sounds pretty simple. Either CarPlay can be there wirelessly or not. It seems like it's a hardware thing with some software. If the hardware is there, why can't it work? They're also going to be missing some safety features. I could not find a list to find out exactly what those were. There's no system-wide light mode. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm sure it has something to do with controlling the lighting on the vehicle. Lack of plug and charge and bidirectional charging, and a potential 3% phantom drain every 24 hours on the battery. I mean, that's insane. That is an unbaked vehicle that is being sent out. Now, if we look at the iPhone 16, 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max, here are the things that it's going to be missing when it comes out, which at the day I'm filming this is September 20th. That is the day that we all receive our iPhones. So these are features that we are missing on today's date, and we are not supposed to get until later in the fall. First of all, it's Apple Intelligence, and those features include image playgrounds, Genmojis, the Photos app cleanup tool, priority AI notification summaries, writing tools, camera control with that two-stage shutter that looked pretty neat, Siri 2.0, visual intelligence as well. All of the major breakthrough things that looked super cool in the keynote and also in several different advertising pieces that Apple has been playing for the last several weeks are missing. These are features that you can't get, so why are they being advertised to us? I believe we are in an OTA dilemma. The ability to update the software over the air by pushing software updates has allowed tech companies to get ahead of themselves. They produce the hardware and get everything put together and get a minimum viable product and get that out to us. We are now buying minimum viable products. That is the minimum acceptable product that we will spend the money on. And then the promised updates come out through software updates, which is really frustrating because I didn't sign on for that when I decided to purchase a phone. Yes, it's nice when we get surprise software updates that come with new features. That's what I'm expecting. I buy something, I want it to be finished, and then if there's a new software feature that comes out later down the road, great, that's exciting. I get that all the time with my Sony cameras. There might be a firmware update that adds some stability features, that changes some functionality to the camera that makes it perform better. My Sony FX3, which is a camera I have had for years, just finally got some settings that make it operate a little bit more like other professional cameras that I'm used to using. And that's great. That's a feature that it didn't have. They never promised that they were going to give us that feature, but then they ended up giving us that feature in a software update. And that's the way we should be looking at this. So we are in an OTA dilemma where the trend is releasing products with promised features to be added later. And big tech seems to be setting the precedence that this is okay. It's okay to release a product that is not fully baked yet, the minimum viable product that the customer will purchase. And I feel that there are some ethical considerations there for charging full price for a device that is not yet ready to go. When I think of a minimum viable product, I am thinking about advertising something to people and seeing if this minimum viable product is something that people are interested in. For example, if I was to come up with a phone and I wanted to sell a phone, I would come up with this concept. I'd probably have a prototype and I would have some software running and I'd be able to show my concept. That's a minimum viable product. And then I would pitch everybody on the future promise of what this would look like when it was done. I would not be selling people that prototype. I would be working towards producing exactly what I promised, and then what people would get is what I promised that I would create, because that's the way that it should be. I wouldn't be selling people on the minimum viable product and saying, hey, it's going to have these features down the road and expect them to pay the full price. If I was giving them a product that was not delivering on expectations, how can I expect the consumer to pay full price for that product? So I feel that there are some ethical things that we need to consider in the direction that technology seems to be going. And we can most likely classify what we're experiencing now as vaporware. Apple Intelligence right now is vaporware. Yes, we've been able to see it. I've even been able to test a little bit of it using the beta software that I'm running on my iPhone currently, 18.1, which is in beta, and it has some Apple Intelligence features, but it's very much vaporware compared to what's being marketed to us in the advertisements. In the advertisements, everything looks great, it's fast, it's polished, it works well, and it appears to add value to our life. When I test it out on the iPhone in its beta state, it is not ready for the light of day, and it's more frustrating than it is useful. Yes, there are some little features that work out, and I'm excited for those, but overall, Apple Intelligence is not ready to go, and it doesn't seem anywhere near operating consistently to the way that it did in the marketing material. It's interesting because there's been this shift in hardware and software innovation. It used to be that the hardware was the limiting factor. Apple would say that they went off and decided to make their own chipsets for their phones and for all other sorts of technology so that they can have the performance that they need in order to achieve the features that they want. And we've seen that across the board with technology. Hardware has advanced far enough now that hardware seems to have more than enough performance for the software that we're creating. And that creates a dilemma because we have the hardware, we can build the physical thing and have the physical thing ready and even know that the physical thing is capable of doing what we want it to do, but the software isn't there yet. Now the software is what's holding us back. We used to have slow performance when we'd install an app on a device or a piece of software on a device that didn't have enough performance. We don't experience that too much these days with the devices that we have. What we end up experiencing is software that doesn't have all of the features that we were expecting to have, and that ends up being the limiting factor. And we seem to be seeing this more and more often. And since software seems to be the driver of innovation these days, it's certainly taken the spotlight off of the hardware and put it on the promise of expanded capabilities. So this presents a big problem. In the past, if your device didn't do what it said it was going to do, you just didn't put it out there because it was likely a hardware limitation that was causing the problem. The software wasn't so advanced that it went beyond the hardware's capabilities. Now the hardware is capable of doing so much, and it seems we are at the limitations of software. Obviously, there still can be limitations there. If the hardware is missing a specific component that's required to carry out said new feature, there's no amount of software that you're going to be able to write to fix that problem. You need the hardware to carry out whatever the software is trying to accomplish. But with Apple and Tesla and Volvo and many other companies that seem to be shipping products that just aren't quite ready yet, it does not seem to be a hardware issue so much as it is a software development issue. There seems to be either limitations in the ability to make the software do what they hoped it would do. Maybe it's a time constraint, not having enough physical resources, enough man or woman power in order to write the code and get everything out in time, that may be a consideration as well. But whatever it is, we're being told, buy the thing, pay full price, and you'll get the features when we feel like it. And I don't think that's fair for us as the consumers. So where does that leave us as consumers of these products? Are you getting tired, as I am, of getting marketed to, of features and exciting things that we get our hopes up for, only to find out that they're not going to be available? Are you tired of paying full price for something only to not get the features that you were expecting to get? Companies have a responsibility to do a better job at balancing what it is that they're trying to accomplish. You can clearly see that it is a sales and dollars driven decision to put products out before they're ready for the light of day. And unfortunately, marketing can create the illusion that these products are ready to go and that we're going to experience these sorts of features. The iPhone 16 lineup comes with that new pretty looking external border that lights up when you activate Siri. However, Siri 2.0 is not available, nor is Apple Intelligence. So what are we really getting? We're getting the same experience with a slightly different user interface, and that's going to solve all of the problems for now. It's definitely not. Yes, I will be excited when Apple Intelligence is ready and fully available to all. But right now, I'm pretty frustrated because even as I try out these features, I see that they do not work exactly like they do in the commercials and the way that this device is being promoted to us. And that is simply bait and switch. It's not fair. It's vaporware as far as I'm concerned. And I'm starting to get a little disenfranchised with this process of purchasing something at full price and not getting the features that are being marketed to me. So my final thought is that we have all created this mess as a society. We want the best thing as quickly as possible. We want the newest thing. It needs to have exciting features. It needs to be something that's new so that we could show it off and show that we have it. And we've created this society of lifting things up and elevating products and brands and all of that stuff. So the brands themselves are now more driven by the dollar than they are driven by the idea of innovation and creating the next frontier, whatever that is. It's now a process of simply iterating just enough and creating enough marketing material to get people excited about the next version, knowing that everybody will eventually have to purchase something because the battery life will deteriorate, their device will get broken, lost, whatever the case, and they'll need a new device anyways. So big tech can kind of do whatever they want because we've given them the ability to do whatever they want, and we've never decided to hold them accountable for it. So what are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section below. I appreciate it if you're still here, having listened to my entire rant all the way through. I'd love to talk with you down in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you back in another one soon. Take care.